call to order tonight's meeting, July 15th of the Hammond Capital Improvement Board. If you please rise and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Can I have the clerk call the roll, please?
Emerson.
Here.
Moore. Muta.
Here.
Prieto.
Here.
Rakos.
Here.
Salinas.
Here.
Button.
Here, let the record reflect that 6 are present, 5 in chambers, 1 by Zoom, and 1 absent. Next item on the agenda is consideration of the past meeting minutes. Board, you should have received in your packet a copy of the meeting minutes from our last meeting, which was June the 3rd.
Motion to approve. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Muta.
Second.
Second by Councilman Salinas. Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson.
Yes.
Moore. Muta.
Yes.
Prieto.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Salinas.
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is a report on the work study session. We met informally after 4:30 this afternoon to briefly go over the items on the agenda. Nothing further was discussed. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? We'll move on. Item 6 is funding. Our city controller, Megan Moore, is not present, so we have no comment on funding at this time. Item 7 would be matters from mayor, council, or other departments. Is there anyone from those entities wishing to address the board? Anyone wishing to address the board? Hearing none. Item 8 is old business. Any old business? None. Item 9 is new business. Item 9A is funding allocation for 191 for the Hammond Housing Authority, Hubert Humphrey Building pavement preservation with site services in the amount of $11,755. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Salinas.
Second.
Second by Councilman Rakos for the Hubert Humphrey pavement preservation. Is there any discussion? This area in front of the Hubert Humphrey building is dedicated right-of-way, and it was made a request by Carmen Paniagua for us to do a crack sealing and fog sealing, or seal coating of the parking lot at the Hubert Humphrey building, which is in fact in right-of-way. And we got a quote last year from Site Services. We did request multiple quotes, but that's the only quote that we received back. And they were the low quoter. And so we've accepted their quote at that time, but held it over until the spring. And that work has since been completed. Is there any other discussion?
Mr. President.
Mr. Muta.
I just wanted to say that I sit on the board for the Hammond Housing Authority, and several residents over the past year have come up to board members asking about this parking lot and when it's going to get repaved. So this will be making a lot of people who live in that building happy.
Very good.
If
Thank
the board
you.
chooses to approve it.
Thank you. We appreciate your input as a board member from the Hammond Housing Authority. Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson.
Yes.
Moore. Muta.
Yes.
Prieto.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Salinas.
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries 6 in favor. Next item on the agenda is funding allocation number 192, 171st Street Extension right-of-way engineering from Lockmuller Group in the amount of $28,825. Is there a motion to approve?
I make the motion.
Thank you, Councilman Rakos. Is there a
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Emerson. It's been moved and properly seconded for the right-of-way engineering services for 171st Street. Is there any discussion? Lockmuller Group had submitted a design previously to this board. It was an oversight by the engineering department and Lockmuller to actually perform the right-of-way services, which is to dedicate the street a right-of-way contained within this project. This will require preparation of plans and plat submittals to the Plan Commission and going through that process, along with the staking of the right-of-way. All of that will be included as a supplemental agreement to the current Lockmuller agreement for the design of the roadway extension. The roadway connects 171st at Kentucky to the new Governor's Parkway roadway and bridge. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore, Muta,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries 6 present and 1 absent. Next item on the agenda is item 9C, a funding allocation 193, Dowling Park Storm Sewer Improvements, supplemental laterals and curb replacement with Grimmer Construction in the amount of $181,200. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Muta.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Prieto. Is there any discussion? This is 100% funded locally because the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers project, which is a 75-25 split, that amount has been used up. Any overage to that contract amount is paid for 100% by the local sponsor, which is the city of Hammond. During the course of design, it was not expected to have the sewer laterals from the 15 homes on the south side of 176th Place coming north to the street. We thought they were going to the rear of the homes, or at least the designer thought it was going to the rear of the homes. Essentially, those sewer services had to be picked up. It would have been part of the original construction cost. It would have put us over the Corps' full limit, and so it would have naturally fallen under the city to do that work. This also includes replacement of the curb line where it will be broken frequently because of the replacement of these laterals, so we thought it would be best to replace the entire curb line that runs along the south segment of 176th Place. Otherwise, it would be just a jumble of fixed and existing and now new curb. So we wanted the area to look correct. All that said, this is for $181,200. And is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore, Muta,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries 6 in favor and 1 absent. Next item is 9D, funding allocation number 194, Holman Avenue reconstruction, change order number 19, sewer repairs on Rimbach in the amount of $13,156. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Thank you, Councilman Salinas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Emerson. It's been moved and properly seconded for the change order number 19, sewer repairs on Rimbach. Is there any discussion? So this is a little bit complicated, and I'll do my best to explain. During the course of construction, the city of Hammond requested AT&T to come and relocate a certain telephone line that ran into the property that the old Goldblatt's building sat, which is basically between Sibley and Rimbach, Holman and Morton Court, in order to improve that development or make that development possible, that AT&T line had to be relocated. So the city contracted with AT&T, and during the course of AT&T's contractor, Always Underground, moving the line over, utility locates were called in. No utility locates were made on Rimbach because the contractor hadn't turned over those utilities to our utilities. So Always Underground proceeded with their work, knowing what they knew, and they should have called in and made further requests on the utilities in the area. The contractor didn't locate his work, so they bored through a number of utilities. This work had to be repaired, and it was done so through the existing contract, and we are seeking to recover our damages to AT&T. In the meantime, we are just covering the cost of the work that was performed. So the city will be filing a claim against AT&T by and through our law department to recover these costs. In the meantime, we need to pay the contractor for the work that they had completed to fix those damages. Is that clear?
Perfect.
Okay, because I want to be sure that you understand that this is just sort of a loan for the time being, and then whatever money that we do recover from AT&T would come back
That's
to
the only
the,
part I got. The rest of it I lost.
thank you. I'm glad you understood that. So is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore, Muta,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion passes, 6 in favor and 1 absent. Next item on the agenda is item 9E, funding allocation number 195, toll lot resurfacing, change order number 1 with Dyer Construction in the amount of $21,553.68. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Commissioner Muta, and seconded by Councilman Salinas. So this is an extension of a project for a resurfacing of the lot that is immediately adjacent to the Paul Henry Gallery. During the course of that work, we, the city, determined that because the old parking lot that is situated between Sibley and Rimbach and Holman and Morton Court, sort of in the area of the project that we were just talking about that used to be paved, we had a reduction in parking that was available downtown. And so across Sibley on the north side of the street where the old J.C. Penney building is, we asked Dyer Construction to place aggregate and parking blocks to create additional parking facilities in that area. And that's what this amount is for, is to improve a small aggregate parking lot at 415 Sibley, not just the paved parking lot that this project did at 422
This isn't to
Sibley.
repave the corner
No.
lot at
It's
all.
only to do the work that had been done to accommodate the Toll Theater's request for additional parking.
See, okay.
Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore, Muta,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes,
Uh,
Button.
Yes. Motion passes 6 in favor and 1 absent. Is there any other new business? And I, as the chairman, have to request additional consideration for your consideration. Chris, if I can hand you this, just so you have it for your record right now.
Okay.
This is a last-minute addition, and it's subject to both approval by the city controller who has verbally told me that this should come from CIB and the mayor's office. This is funding allocation number 196 for a new traffic signal at the Hammond Sportsplex and YMCA for $1,029,076.73. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Thank you, Commissioner Muta. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Emerson, and I thank you very much. It's been moved and properly seconded for the funding allocation to fund the traffic signal at the Hammond Sportsplex for $1,029,076.73. About 2 years ago, the Hammond Capital Improvements Board and the Hammond Board of Public Works and Safety approved a contract with Beam Longus and Neff to do a traffic study for the Sportsplex and YMCA. And at that point, it was determined that a new traffic signal was needed at approximately 166th Street in Hammond, which would be across from Hudamaki, immediately north of the Hammond Sportsplex. As you're aware, it's sort of difficult to arrive at the Sportsplex because of the entry for driveways. Basically, you can enter from 167th Street west of Indianapolis Boulevard, and there's a right in, right out that's basically across from Petros or the Taco Bell, right? That's really the only ways to get in. I guess you could get in from the development off of Northcott through the old Walmart, but it's very complicated entry and arrival. We knew that the YMCA was going to spend, at that time, $40 million, now $75 million to create a destination YMCA. So to manage that traffic, this traffic signal really makes sense. So we hired Beam Longus and Neff, funded through the Capital Improvements Board and the Board of Public Works and Safety contracting to design a traffic signal at this location. We need state approval, right, because it's on the Indianapolis Boulevard, State Road 152, which is a state facility. So we need state concurrence to do this work, and we've received that for the most part. There's one outstanding matter, and that is to actually have an agreement with the state to have a signal there. But they've reviewed our plans, they've commented on our plans, we've made adjustments on our plans to do those. We bid the project out locally through the Board of Public Works and Safety, and Milestone Contractors North out of Griffith, Indiana, is the low, responsive, and responsible bidder. We are prepared to execute an agreement with Milestone on Thursday of this week, provided that funding's available. We've had a pre-construction meeting with Milestone to prepare for this, and the reason for the rush during this current week of busy activities at the city is because there's a lead time that we're trying to meet to order the signal poles and mast arms for the signal. And so we're asking for your consideration and your approval to fund this project. Megan, our city controller, has told me that funds are available from the Capital Improvements Board to fund this project, and I would ask for your consideration contingent on approval of both the city controller and the mayor. So I know that's a big ask. I wouldn't do this if I didn't have to, but I'm asking for your approval. Is there any other discussion?
I got a question.
Councilman Salinas.
Are there any other traffic construction modifications that we agreed to with this project, like anything coming off of 165th, 167th that, are still yet to be seen or yet to be brought to our attention?
So that is included in this project, right? Putting up a traffic signal is not $1 million, right? It's probably $300,000 to $400,000, depending on its location. This includes narrowing the west side of Indianapolis Boulevard because the pavement is wide and there are utility conflicts related particularly to a BP pipeline that runs along the curb line, part of the curb line in front of the sportsplex. But we want to be careful that we're not doing anything in that area. It does include widening to the east because to balance the approach to the traffic signal and the left-hand turn, to make that the geometrics correct, we had to sort of widen the east but narrow the west. And so we are adjusting the state's roadway facilities to accommodate this traffic signal. And we do have approach modifications, which what I would call the west approach on 165th to the intersection of 165th and Indianapolis Boulevard. So it'd be the west side of that intersection. And all of that's included in this. The project did come under the engineer's estimate, which was about 1.2 million. So the project, the amount was favorable based upon what we expected the project to come in at. Thank you, Councilman Salinas. Did that answer your question?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore, Muta,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, and I am grateful to my colleagues. That passes 6 in favor and 1 absent. That ends new business. Next item on the agenda, or unless there is any other new business. Any other new business? Hearing none, next item on the agenda is public expression. I see Councilman Werpel in the audience wishing to address the board. Councilman Werpel.
I guess I should have came up under council and mayor, but I was just too tired to get up. I've only done this one time before, and it was to aggravate Wes Miller one time when we all came, Scott. So I just had a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how these people know this stuff, but somebody brought what you just discussed up to me, and the question that they had for me was the light on 167th. Will that remain on Indianapolis Boulevard?
Will that be Maine?
Will that remain? The light on?
Yes, it will remain. Yes,
So
sir.
it'll be almost just like a block between the two stops. Will that all be synchronized and all that?
Yes, sir. The state controls all of those signals, synchronization. They will be synchronized, and there's no modification to be done at 167th. So that left turn lane signal will remain as it is.
And then, I'm not gonna give a wish list of everything that I hear that we need, but I know Councilman Salinas had brought up a while back about the sidewalk out in front of St. John Bosco. And I guess we need some kind of study done about because we had talked about that before, about getting it done, but there's some kind of sewer in the way there or something. And can I just request that we get that looked at and get an idea what that would cost?
Yeah, so that's difficult, right?
Right, I
So
know it's not an easy fix.
I'll tell you where we are now if you'll let me.
I'm a man of peace, go ahead.
Thank you. We, the city, by and through the engineering department and by the approval of the mayor, petitioned NERC for $6 million to reconstruct Columbia Avenue from 165th to Munster. And we actually had to do that because we needed points to include a small segment into the town of Munster. We were awarded $2 million from NERC, and we asked that those funds be used in that particular segment. The problem with using federal funds is that's a very long process, right? It's about a 2-year process to go through the environmental. We have a consultant in mind to do that work. I have a fee proposal from them that's close to $1 million. That includes all of the environmental work along the entire corridor. In the event that NERC has additional money available, they could fund other segments of that corridor. So we have that in the plan. That funding is not available for construction until 27 or 28. So it's quite a long ways out.
And that would include that sidewalk there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I just know that, I know you had brought it up and the schools brought it up to me and some members of the church. And I just keep telling them it's not an easy fix because of the way, if I recall correctly, doesn't the ADA ramp go right down into a sewer or something like?
Yeah, I don't even
sewer
think there is
cover?
I don't even think there is an ADA ramp on the south.
Isn't there a sewer right there where you
southeast
cross the
There
street
is,
though
there
or
is.
something, and that would have to be
Well, there's
redone?
multiple sewers in that area. There's a force main on Columbia Avenue, and
But that will all be looked at, correct?
it will absolutely all be looked at. We just have to be able to find the source to fund the design of that project
Okay,
right now.
thank you, that's all I wanted.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Any other public expression? Any other public expression? It is second meeting in July, so our next meeting would be scheduled for August 5th. I do expect we will have a funding request at that, because we know that we had bid opening through the state for Kennedy, what we call the Kennedy Avenue Road Diet, which is reducing the lanes from 2 lanes in each direction to 1 lane in each direction with a center turn lane, bike facilities and parking from 164th Place north to the Indiana Toll Road.
That'll make them happy.
Concurrently with that project, the county has an intention to replace the bridge over the IHB, and that bridge bid opening or letting is in September. So we hope those projects will go concurrently.
That would make it easier. The county is totally in charge of all funding for any bridge.
For the bridge, yeah. In fact, they do have some obligation to do some of the bridge approach too. Yep. So with that being said, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.